Thank you, Senator Blumenthal. And, I'd really like to thank the panel for your testimony and for your remarkable work. To Ambassador Lauder, just the very idea that the work that you are doing is to set free the last prisoners of the Second World War is such a powerful visual and emotional symbol. And Dame Mirren, it is such an honor to be with you. Your work together, both of you, and the testimony of the whole panel is a reminder of the power of art, of film to move, and of a painting to inspire years and years of work and millions of dollars of investment in making sure it's restored to its rightful owner. And I'm grateful for the work of the senators who've convened this hearing on an important piece of legislation. Let me start, if I could, Mr. Goodman, with you. How would the HERE Act, if it had been law at the time, made a difference? How might it have supported, or how could it support your efforts to recover your family's stolen art?
We are. That's good. In the first instance that my family found themselves in U.S. court in Goodman versus Searle in Chicago, we won the first motion to dismiss. However, my family felt obliged to settle out of court because we had no guarantee we would win, or that the judge would not throw the case out based on our case having expired the statute of limitations. So we had to accept second best because we were on strong moral ground but very weak legal ground. And also it's my belief that if the Senate here can further our cause, law aside, the mood that would be set by the Senate would be sending a message to museums and the art business in general that a settlement is welcome and long overdue. So yes, next time I end up in court, no doubt, this would be a great help. I mean, there are a few paintings I'm still trying to track. It's worth mentioning that there are still at least 20 good paintings missing from my family's collection, several gold Renaissance sculptures, and at least 300 important antiques. So the search goes on. We're talking about statute of limitations. I've been working non-stop at this for 20 years, and I've uncovered a lot, but there's still a lot more to find. So I don't know where I'll be next year. This would certainly, if this passes, would be a huge help to my family, and it establishes a moral record as well that we should follow.
Thank you, Mr. Goodman. Ms. Perstegui, just what sort of information would you imagine that claimants would have to offer from an evidentiary standpoint that would be different with the HERE Act in future actions?
Well, in some of these cases, the actions of previous family members, the ancestors, were questioned. Whether they were diligent, whether they did the right thing, whether they did the right research, whether they negotiated too long or too short. So a lot of issues came up that I think was open to interpretation. And what I think this act will bring is certainty. And the best way to resolve these claims, if both sides know where the law stands, because then you can sit down and reach a resolution.
And Mr. Go, do you think the art world would respond in a constructive and positive way, or do you think there might be other vehicles found for delay, or are there real concerns about this legislation?
I can only speak to, with regards to Christie's, and I believe that we see ourselves aligned with the spirit of the bill, but because from an art market perspective, we need to be able to convey good title. And so therefore, we need to look at the facts of the case and make sure that there isn't any taint on the artwork. So again, without commenting specifically on the bill, what basically the bill is proposing is already basically a business template that we already have instituted at Christie's, which is negotiated settlements and making sure that we're looking at the facts case by case and achieving sort of that fair and just solution as espoused by the Washington Conference principles.
Thank you. And Dame Mirren, if I might, just a last question. The comment's been made that, you know, the looting of art by the Nazis was in some ways a piece of their larger horrific campaign to destroy an entire people and their culture. Today, we're engaged in a conflict with ISIS, which is doing very similar things.
Yes.
It's looting and destroying cultural artifacts of an entire region. How do you see the impact, not just on those who are the victims of Nazi actions and have been dedicating, as Mr. Goodman has, as Ambassador Lauder has, so much of their time in their life to undoing those injustices, but what sort of impact do you think this might have on the appreciation in the world of the value of cultural treasures?
I think I absolutely agree with you. And when I was engaged in the film and having to imaginatively live in the world that Maria had to live in, and her memories, I thought, my God, this is happening to people as we speak. This is happening to people. Mm-hmm. People are banging on doors and walking in and taking lives, but also trying to take people's history away from them. And as the sort of horrors of what happened in the Second World War came, as I grew up and I began to learn about them and understand more and more, the thing that really affected me the most, and does to this day, is the idea of losing all trace of your existence on this planet. All trace. Even if you personally survived. To live in a world with absolutely no family, no history, no memories, no photograph albums, no one to talk to and say, what was grandma like? Not to have a picture of grandma, those simple human things. This is why I feel very strongly that this is nothing to do with money. It so happens that, yes, some of these works of art are worth a lot of money, but it's so much more to do with reclaiming your place in human history. I was thinking today that it was like someone going into those beautiful caves in the south of France, you know, where you have the cave paintings. That's all we know of those people, are those paintings, and going with a knife and scratching them out, saying, we don't want to remember you, you're gone, you're finished. And so, yes, it's happening as we speak, and it's something that we must be eternally vigilant against, eternally.
Great. Thank you so much for your testimony. I'd like to thank the whole panel. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.